Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Nicole. Today is such a special day because I'm here with a very special person. This is my friend Tori Masters.
Hi guys!
She's great. She lives in LA too. We also have something in common. Tori was Miss Florida. Were you 2015? 14.
Yeah.
Third runner-up at Miss America. I was Miss Washington 2017, so not the same year, but we both had the experience of going to Miss America.
Oh, pageant land.
And she's amazing. We both kind of have similar jobs in the social media realm. And so today I just kind of want to talk about some really important topics that I feel like a lot of people go through, and that is anxiety, social media, and for our pageant girls out there, what that transition looks like going from something like Miss America or being a state title holder, even a local title holder, into the real world. Yeah, into the real world. Not in pageant land anymore because it's intense, but we've both gone through it. I think she has some really great perspective, and I'm excited for you guys to hear from her. We also recorded a video on a different topic on Tori's channel, so go subscribe to her channel, follow her on Instagram. We're gonna be inspired to a whole nother level, but the video we did on her channel is really awesome as well, so make sure you go check that out. First off, I want to talk to you because we have a similar kind of, not trajectory, but we both competed
a similar little path.
Yeah, we competed in Miss America, we moved to Los Angeles, we kind of both have jobs in social media, and so what was that transition for you like, going from the pageant world to the real world?
I think for me, just because of the way I grew up, like I grew up with pageants kind of being my life, and then after Miss America, almost having like an identity crisis of sorts, and just being like, who am I? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, this was my big goal, my big dream. Like, I never want to peak in my life, and I was like very aware of like, okay, well, this can't be my peak, so what's next? And I was so competitively driven in my life that after pageants was super hard for me. Going back to school, kind of going back to like normal life, I didn't know what that looked like. And then, graduating, I ended up getting like your normal like corporate job right out of college, and I, to be honest, was like riddled with anxiety, probably like low-key depressed and didn't know it because I'm such a happy person on the outside. But when you're having the signs that like you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, you really are not even being excellent at your job because you just are not there. You buy a dog because you're lonely. I'm like, these are signs that you should probably be aware of. And the Lord ended up just like completely wrecking my life and like changing the trajectory of my life completely within like 24 hours. And then fast forward, moving to LA, social media, there's just so much that goes into all of it. And I think anxiety comes from not knowing who you are and being like so overwhelmed with like everything that's going on in the world and the pressures of the world, and then you feel like you have to live up to the pressures of like what people think you should be doing, or who maybe even you think you should be at this point of your life. And that's definitely where I struggled probably the most, was like thinking I should be farther along than I already was and not having enough grace for myself and like the process and the journey. And I definitely like struggled. I struggled more with body image like right after Miss America, and then anxiety, depression more like right after college.
Do you feel like the fact that you were Miss Florida and had this whole presence in the Miss America world, and you got third runner-up, you were on national television, everybody saw you, that almost added any pressure there? Do you think it was unrelated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, of course. Well, because then it's like, okay, I've been on this huge stage and I've done this big thing. It's like, well, what's next? Like, what is she gonna do next? And I'm like, I don't know.
Do you almost feel like, because I don't know if you can relate to this, but I felt like because I had made it to Miss America, and that's like the pinnacle of pageantry in my opinion.
I agree.
I almost felt like, and this is all stuff I put on myself, but I thought that other people, since I had reached that level, expected me to keep climbing and climbing and climbing. Literally, so whatever I did after that wouldn't be good enough, or it wouldn't be sparkly enough or cool enough, and then I would become irrelevant and no one would care about what I'm doing, and then they would stop following me, they wouldn't care, and they would just think, oh, Nicole, like she peaked. I had that fear. Exactly. Yeah, and that I had peaked and I would never amount to anything else in my whole life. And the thought of peaking at the age of 22, I don't know how old you were when you competed, but like that's terrifying. Because it's so young.
Yeah, you're like, no thanks, I have a lot more to live for. No, but I completely agree. I think it's really hard coming out of pageant land to refigure out like what's next. What am I dreaming? Like, what's my new dream? What's my new goal?
So I bet there are other girls out there who are competing who experience similar identity crisis, because I definitely experienced exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I wonder what it would look like, or maybe some advice that we could give girls who are competing to still be able to compete and be in it 100%, but not have that be their identity. Like, I wonder, because I didn't do it. I clearly didn't do it well.
Yeah.
But there has to be a way that you can do that and compete and still know that, like, your identity's not wrapped up in that.
Yeah. I think what was really funny and a weird coincidence is because when you're preparing, you know how you're like full blown, like, this is my life, like AM to PM, like I'm preparing for this pageant. So Kira, right before Miss America, went on a cruise for 2 weeks and just like had a blast. And then she comes back refreshed and ready to be like, oh, this is not life or death. Like, life goes on.
Yeah, she was always so good at reminding me of that.
Yeah, and I just think that's almost like the key is living your life to the fullest and doing some trip or like getting yourself out of pageant mind and reminding yourself that like there is life outside of this pageant land, pageant world. Like there's other things to be excited about. There's other things to live for. And I think you go into even like an interview room or a competition different because there's not this like massive pressure on you to perform because you're like, I'm so confident and excited about life and what's ahead of me that like whether or not you like me, this is who I am and take it or leave it.
It's a perspective thing. It really is, because it's hard to say this because when girls like us who are very competitive and who go all out, like, we're going to put 100%. We're going to invest and we're going to be in it. I'm not saying don't care about it, but keep it in perspective, because I heard someone say something once where they said, pageants aren't preparing you to win a crown. They're preparing you to win at life. Totally. And when you look at it as just a tool, almost like a summer camp, to give you skills and experiences so that you can go on and be successful in life. Like, the end destination, in my perspective, should not be a crown. No. It shouldn't even be the year that you're the title holder. It should be what that does to launch you forward after.
It's a platform.
Yes.
It's like a launching pad.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I think for so long, I just got so caught up in, like, being the queen and being Miss America and, like, what is the crown and, like, being a title holder that, I knew that life went on, but, like, I wasn't ever focused on that or, like, what that would look like after the fact.
How do you feel like you got out of the circle of, like, anxiety and social media comparison, etc.?
That's something I have to make a daily intentional decision to, like, know that my worth is not caught up in that. But I had a come to Jesus moment where I had to learn the hard way that my identity is not in a title. I actually think that for me came before I competed for Miss America. I moved to New Zealand when I was in college for 6 months, and when I moved, I didn't have any titles. I wasn't competing. I didn't even have like a job or an internship or anything to fall back on to be able to say like, oh, well, I'm a pastry chef, or I'm a Miss this, I'm a Miss that. And it really freaked me out because I, for the first time, was just Nicole, and I had never been that before, and I didn't think it would be enough for people. I literally thought that I had to have all these bells and whistles attached to my name for people to think I was cool enough to hang out with. And when I didn't have that, I was like, I'm not going to have any friends. No one's going to think I'm cool enough. And then I did start to make friends, and it was such a gentle reminder that, like, I'm enough because God says I am, because He made me, and He put purpose in me before I ever had any of that stuff, before I was ever capable of doing anything. Like, the things I do in my day and in my life don't give me value.
No.
They're wonderful, but they're separate from my identity. Like, identity and worth and values over here, and what you do and don't do in life, and your success and failures, that's over here.
Totally.
And when you attach them, I think that's where you get problems.
Yeah. No,
so learning to detach that is, like, really hard, but huge.
Yeah, I feel like that's what I was even talking about with the trips before. You know, it's almost like detaching to realize that, like, the Lord has given me a crown outside of the physical crown of the pageant. You know, like, before I am that, I am the daughter of a king. And so walking in that royal identity of knowing your worth before you even get into the pageant. And, like, I think that separation, like you said, is so vitally important to, like, life afterwards.
So how does that work with social media? Because I know for me, when I first started, it was easy to get caught up in feeling like my worth was reflective of how many likes I got, how many people were following me, how well my post did for the day. And it was almost like I could have had a great day, but then if my Instagram post didn't perform well, my day was ruined. How silly is that? I mean, I think it's the goofiest thing, but it's real.
But it's so real. The struggle's so real.
Especially when it's your job and you're relying on it for income, and that's a whole nother discussion, which I'm going to make a YouTube video on how all that works, because I get questions all the time. But that's tough.
No, it is. I think my husband has been such a good reminder of this, but if I'm putting out content that like I am proud of, number one, and for me, a lot of my stuff is super faith-based, and if I know that like it's something I would want my friends to hear, and I'm like, I at least know that I said what I felt called to say, and that verse, like knowing that like when you speak God's word that it doesn't come back void. And I have to think of social media the same way. Like if I'm putting out content that I feel called to put out, and whether or not it performs well, like knowing that first off, my calling and my purpose is so much higher than all of that. I think that was huge for me. I think everything is like coming back to separation.
I literally thought Instagram was an editing app. I thought the filters with the frames, that's how you edit your photos. So I would post the same photo like 7 times with each different filter because I just wanted to see what they all looked like. Not realizing that people can follow you and like see all the photos.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know.
Can like go back. Have you already deleted those?
I deleted those ones, but like if you scroll back there, you'll find some gems. And I keep those there, one to encourage me and to remind me that like everybody starts somewhere. But I also think it's fun like when you follow someone new to go all the way back and see where they started. Like that shows a lot, and it shows that like these people worked hard. Yeah. They're talented, they are good at their craft. Yeah, there's so much growth.
And you like even see, I know for me, it's like you want transformation. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like if someone looked at me and was like, oh my gosh, you're just the same as you were in high school, I'd be like, oh God, that's not good.
Even in college, I'm a completely different person.
Oh, same. I'm completely different than I was like 6 years ago. And that's the point. And like, I think it is fun to see like growth in creativity on Instagram, etc. But I think just in life, you know, like getting back to that topic, like transformation is so important. Like you don't want to stay the same.
We're talking about anxiety.
Yeah.
So what are some ways that you deal with anxiety?
I think a big one for me, like when I just get trapped in my head and feel super anxious, I have to read scripture over and over until the other thoughts in my head like completely drown out. If I'm getting anxious or overwhelmed, I will literally repeat the promise and be like, I am promised a sound mind. Like confusion and anxiety is not of my God. And so I know that's an attack of the enemy. And so I'm going to cling to the promise that I can have a sound mind. Like I know that that's a promise that I have. And so I'm just going to repeat it until it happens. And so that's something that I've learned really works well for me.
So you and I are not the only former Miss America state title holders to move to LA. There's actually a bunch of us here.
There is.
I feel like this is a popular spot to come.
Everyone comes to LA.
And I get people asking me a lot like, hey, what would this look like? Where should I live? Like, do you have any tips? Do you have any type of encouragement or advice for pageant girls wanting to move to LA after pageant life?
Do it. No.
Come be our friend.
Come. I genuinely love LA so much. I've never experienced community that are all on the like same journey, if that makes sense. Like everyone is so creative and in that field where you feel like, oh my gosh, I found my people. Like everyone gets it. It's depending on like what you're trying to do. LA is super expensive, but you also have so many people out here like encouraging you and pushing you. I don't know if I have like 100% like advice except for make the move, have faith that God's gonna see you through if it's something that you're feeling called to do.
Man, theme of the year, faith.
Yeah.
You gotta have faith in this city. I don't know how people do it. I don't know how people do it without faith, because there have been so many times where I'm like, is this gonna work?
Yeah.
And you just, it works. God's good and he always provides.
Yes.
So, isn't she great, you guys? I love this girl. Go subscribe to her YouTube channel. Also find her on Instagram. She's amazing on there as well.
And you should like her video.
Oh, yes.
And comment.
Give this video a thumbs up. If there's anything else or suggestions, things you want to see on this channel, please let me know, because I'm doing lots of crazy fun stuff on here. In the meantime, if you do check out her channel, we've made a video together as well on hers talking about some different things. So if you want to see more of us, you can go check out her channel and find that video there. Thank you so much for watching this week. Really appreciate you. We'll see you next time.
Bye!
Yay!